and welcome to episode 200 of the Perth to Paisley Podcast, a podcast dedicated to Heart of Midlothian Football Club. The 2024-25 season came to a close, having started in the capital and finished in Kilmarnock, having gone through the likes of Bruges, Baku and Brechin, and joining me, Adam Kennedy, to touch on the final four fixtures of the campaign, a quartet of victories, and look forward to a new era under Derek McInnes and wearing Hummel kits, which I can't wait for, is Daniel McIver. Mr. McIver, the longest football season in human history is finally over. How do you feel?
Relieved, delighted, and yet inexplicably confident we're going to win it all next season now. I'm just relief is the main thing. It has been one of the worst seasons that we've covered on the show, or the worst season that we've covered on the show.
It is the worst, yeah.
Because our first full season was in the championship, but we were just, you and me could have played and we would have won the championship. So we did have a worse result in that season in terms of Brora, but generally we've been weirdly lucky on this podcast. And as you say, episode 200, a massive achievement. And to look back over those 200 episodes, most of them, we've actually been quite good, which is weird to think. But this season has very much not been that. And to be honest, has been what I thought most of this podcast would be. So, delighted it's over. Thankful to individuals within the management team for the last few games. But yeah, overriding emotion is just thank fuck that is over. What about you?
Yeah, pretty much echo those entire thoughts. I know a guy that's moving jobs from Ayrshire to Edinburgh. And thankfully, it's a similar story for me and my missus as we're moving back through East. So thank God, yeah, finally released out of Ayrshire.
Was that the contingent? As long as Derek McInnes was in Ayrshire, you had to be there. And now he's like, this is why you've advocated for him to get the job for so long.
Looks really suspicious, that. But yeah.
You are actually Alan Archibald under a pseudonym.
Well, I don't think Derek McInnes is heading for Hopefield right enough.
He might be. You don't know.
A Howgate stroke Pennycook native, I can't say that I'm moving to Bonnyrigg, but Hopefield I will accept. So now it's going to have to be the Hopefield and Howgate HSC. That'll be what's getting formed off the back of this podcast.
The worst supporters club that's ever existed.
A grand total of 2 members. And I can't even go along to cheer on Bonnyrigg Rose in the professional leagues now.
Exactly, it's all gone wrong.
That came to
you're a jinx. So. Whenever you end up staking your claim, you're a jinx.
Oh, no, I'm delighted.
Since I got here, Spartans have rocketed their way up the league.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe having left Pennycook, I might see them climb the east.
Exactly. Suddenly they just go for it.
That would be great. But suffice to say, that's not happened yet. This is a different kind of episode because, again, we're touching on 4 games once, which if you've listened to us for all 200 episodes, you know that we struggle to cover 1 game per episode. So the fact that we're quadrupling that tally is quite ambitious. And the first of which I didn't even see live because I was...
you weren't even here.
I was en route to Prague. So yeah, I was boarding my flight to Prague. Had seen that Ronan Hale had given Ross County the lead in Dingwall with what can only be described as a phenomenal finish.
Yeah.
But thankfully, Lauren Shankland had equalised before half-time and take off. I was then papping my pants, wondering what the hell was going on. We landed. I chucked on the data. And thankfully had seen that Lauren Shankland had netted a second after some great work from the incoming Kenneth Vargas. And then goal scorer turned provider Alan Forrest sealing the deal in Dingwall. So thankfully, my holiday wasn't ruined. Our safety was essentially secured. And that was the first of Liam Fox's 4 victories in interim charge in this second spell this season. 4 changes from the team that was defeated by Dundee at Tynecastle, I should say. Craig Halkett coming back into the defence, but the big talking point was that entirely new front 3 of the aforementioned Alan Forrest, Lauren Shankland and Kenneth Vargas. what did you make of the county game in full, McIver?
So I was very clear in my stance that we were never in danger of relegation. Uh, I think it was Craig Anderson a couple of weeks ago in the terrace who said that it felt to a neutral that Hearts were going to go one of two ways. That they were either going to Terry Butcher Hibs it and just literally drop like a stone and go all the way down, or they were going to comfortably win all five of their games. Now, the most Hearts thing ever is that neither of those actually happened. We lost our first one and then comfortably won all four. But the point stood that despite the comments, justified comments, that a lot of our supporters have made this season about how the squad isn't good enough, it's still good. It's still better than most teams in this league. So as soon as we got put in the bottom six, it was like, right, we're going to finish seventh here. I just knew we would. Even if we didn't win, I was like, everybody else is too shit. Yeah, Foxy football came back, and it was lovely. Basically, I think the thing I'm mainly going to speak about in this podcast is how much I now have a huge love and respect for Liam Fox. We'll get to it later, but I'm very saddened about the way it's ended for him. But I couldn't be happier for him and more thankful for him because, listen, I'm saying there, I didn't think there was any chance. That doesn't mean anything. Just because I don't think there's any chance doesn't mean there isn't a chance. So he made sure that we were fine. The change in shape and personnel, I expected the shape. I didn't necessarily expect the personnel. Particularly the dropping so much of Wilson and Cabangu. Like they've both between them barely had minutes in the last four games. And Alan Forrest, every single season he's been at us has had purple patches.
100%.
It's never normally this late in the season. But
I'm absolutely raging. I backed him at 3-1 any time at the week, or what was he, 9-2 any time at the weekend? Because I thought 3 on the spin, and I coupled them up. I did a goal scorer double of Jared Bowen and Alan Forrest. So then Jared Bowen pulls one back for West Ham. I'm thinking, right, yes, all on Forrest.
It's happening.
And then the worst 90 minutes that ever ensued. Basically
no,
followed.
That's not true. It was a laugh 90 minutes because nobody. It's a game that I've never seen personified end of season more in my life.
We'll come to that later on.
But yeah, I'm chuffed for Forrest. I was chuffed for Vargas. I thought in the first half, Vargas and Forrest both looked like players who hadn't played in a wee while.
What made you say that about the change of shape, can I ask? Just with Liam Fox being in the B team previously, is that that he tended to employ, or what?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know if I necessarily predicted that specific formation. I more just meant I expected a change of shape away from the diamond.
Well, yeah, I was going to say anything other than the diamond, I think I would have been happy with.
Yeah, it was such an open goal to be like, look, I'm appeasing you guys. Don't worry. There's no diamonds here. There's not even a vague shape. It's just a 4-3-3. But he did. The B team's always weird with Hearts because the B team pretty much just plays what the first team are playing with in case somebody gets hurt and then a player can come in. But the game before Fox took charge, the B team switched to a 4-3-3. So
interesting.
It was probably like, okay, I wonder what we're going to do at Dingwall. I will say, I think there's been a bit of gaslighting from the general media and some members of the Hearts support with this idea that Shankland hadn't played as a number 9 up until Fox took charge for the Final Four game. Because I watched every game before Christmas where he was a number 9 and doing absolutely nothing. But because we're playing the bottom 6, folk are like, oh, look, he's scoring these goals. This is why we were doing wrong. It's like, no. We were doing that for a period of time and it wasn't working. So we had to change
away from that and have now gone back to doing that.
Yeah. So it's like, can we all calm down? Let's just not rewrite history completely because we've scored a few goals against teams that are already relegated. Like, calm down a wee bit. But generally, and again, I kind of feel like I'm going to be repeating myself a lot here. The performance went exactly how I thought. I thought we were going to win because Fox kind of just does simple things well.
Interesting. So the performance went... What, did you expect us to fall behind with such a sensational finish?
No. In fairness, I didn't expect that.
Why is he... I feel like he's never in the Ross County team, but yet when he is...
He always goes against us.
And good goals against us.
No.
His goal at Tynecastle earlier on in the season was an absolute worldie. this is just as good.
Yeah, I feel like he has played like 3 games, and they've all
Scored
been
twice
against
against us.
us. Yeah, exactly. Um, do not. I hope nobody gets any ideas above their station and say under Jamestown and McInnes, we should now our first signing should be Ronan Hale. Calm down a wee bit because he does just apparently not. He can't stay fit. It
Well,
seems.
now he's an international as well. I think he's been called up for the Northern Ireland squad, one of the last ones.
Fair
So
play to him. Fair
there you
play to
go.
him. He's
Might
smashing it despite Ross County being
demand a big
shite.
fee. It could be the new Liam Boyce. He's just banging them in for Ross County. We pick him up. You know, he might go down
And
to
he's
England and then
Northern
we
Irish.
pick him up, and then all of a sudden the goals dry up. I don't know. Northern Irish.
The problem is, though, for that to be true, we have to get relegated again, and I'd rather
That is true.
avoid
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
aspect.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah, I thought we were solid. I was glad to see everybody contributing. We just looked good.
Going by the incoming manager's press conference and some quotes, um, do you feel as though Kenneth Vargas and Alan Forrest could potentially kind of be saved here? Do you feel as though like their Hearts careers were kind of dwindling? Could the new manager essentially kind of bring them in from the cold, I guess would be the best way of saying that.
Forest, definitely.
Vargas were unsure.
Vargas were unsure just because we're signing so many wingers, which we need
And
to do.
actual wingers.
Yeah, actual wingers.
Vargas is.
But that's the big thing. I think McInnes will have a look at him. It's that thing when a new manager comes in, everybody gets a clean slate, but especially when you're going into pre-season, where it's not even like when Critchley came in and it's suddenly somebody going, oh, right, okay, right, it's January, I might actually be able to do something here. Whereas it's like, no, we're going in all level pegging here. If you impress, if you get your fitness up right, and then you just perform again in the training and in the games, you'll have a chance. And listen, we've been very big defenders of Kenny Vargas on this show, more than I would say others have been.
Yeah.
And I want it to work out for him. I do think there is a player there. It's just, I think there's a very specific player there. And one that I would like to see if McInnes can get a tune out of, but I don't know if he will. Whereas Alan Forrest feels like the definition of a solid squad option under Derek McInnes.
I also think in his kind of pinnacle of his Aberdeen teams, he had good pace in the wide areas with your Johnny Hayeses, your Niall McGinns, and ultimately these guys probably played the best football of their careers under him. I guess that's kind of the hope for Alan Forrest, because again, from what I've heard or what I believe to be true, was the talk that he was left between. He had the choice between Kilmarnock under Derek McInnes and Hearts then under Robbie Neilson when he was leaving Livingston. But obviously he's ex-Ayr United, so maybe the Killie move wasn't doable, despite the fact that the Forrest family are from Prestwick, so it'd be local enough.
But also, as we've learned from the last week,
over Kilmarnock, yeah.
As we've learned last week, nobody would choose Kilmarnock over Hearts, because they're a fucking irrelevancy. So, well in Al, you've done the same that anybody rational would do.
But now it's a manager that obviously clearly wanted him. So, and again, the hope is that this hot streak can last longer than like a month or so, and that we see it for 9, ideally.
I worry it. Remember 2 seasons ago, the final 3 games of the season, Yutaro Oda got 4 goal contributions in 3 and then started the next season with 2 goal contributions in 2. He scored in the Derby right at the end of the season and stuff like that. He scored away at St Johnstone, first game of the next season, all that kind of patter, and then he never did anything again. I worry that Forrest is in that position where
It's Yutaro Oda syndrome.
Yes, or Gary Mackay-Stevens syndrome, where he was class at the end of the championship season, scored against Celtic opening day, and then never did anything of relevance again. So if Alan Forrest scores first day of next season,
player of the season in between that streak,
somebody that should not have 200 episodes of a podcast, I would suggest. So I'll be honest, I'll be quite worried if Alan Forrest scores first game of next season, because I'll be like, it's happening again. We always have a winger who does this, but hopefully he bucks that trend.
I will not be tipping Alan Forrest to be our player of the season. Everybody can relax. Another game in which Alan Forrest did impress in, though, was the 3-0 victory over Motherwell at Tynecastle. Liam Fox making 2 changes for this one of which was enforced as Ryan Fulton made his competitive debut in goal, replacing the injured Craig Gordon, and Cammy Devlin returned from illness to slot in for Blair Spittle in midfield. Again, it was the Lawrence Shanklin show, but McIver, I saw you laughing about Ryan Fulton there. He actually did claim an assist on his debut, with Lawrence Shanklin equally looking back to his best. What was your thoughts regarding that opener against the Well?
I now love Ryan Fulton. I love that.
Just a cult hero.
Yeah, it's just like, right, you're going to come here as clearly third choice keeper. Never.
Two goalkeepers that are in and around the Scotland squad.
Yeah,
are like,
exactly.
Seen as like the first choices and staples, really, of Steve Clarke's Scotland squad.
For the first 10 months of your career, you will play one game, and it is a testimonial in Wraith for a random guy you've never heard of, and you concede a few. You do nothing as the team is shit.
Just chill on the
all
bench.
Season. Just get paid to
stands.
have a laugh. And then the final 3 games of the season, you play almost every single minute because one of the goalies is so old, he cricked his neck and that's him out for the month. And the other goalie's so injury prone, apparently, that he cannot last 5 minutes without being fucked. And now he's got as many appearances as Xander Clark this season.
And kept 2 clean sheets, and the only goal that he did concede was
a
an absolute
fucking
wonder
raker.
goal.
Aye, exactly. Listen, the boy's absolutely massive. He made some good saves, and I now think should he be number 1 next season? Should we just go with this? We're all discussing, is Craig Gordon past it? Should we have Xander Clark? There's inconsistencies with Xander Clark, and many people say that it's because of that Craig Gordon came back in. How about we fix this problem by just going, well, we'll play Ryan Fulton in goals and fuck everybody else off?
Did Hearts secretly rely on Jamestown prior to announcing that we were going down the Jamestown route? Did he come up so well in the Jamestown analytics that then we are therefore starting to see this, come to fruition in real life?
Yes, I think that's
true. Is this a
true.
matrix? What is happening in the world? Like, what? How have we done this? How have we just plucked him from Hamilton Accies and gone, there you are, you start between the sticks for Hearts?
It's very funny. In all seriousness, he seems really lovely, and his post-match interview...
Ross Stewart was really lovely, but he wasn't necessarily the best goalkeeper.
And Ross Stewart is a hero to me because of that. Miss you, Cheesy. Hope you're doing well at Queen of the South or wherever you are. Fulton's post-match interview...
Ryan Fulton's nickname is?
It'll be something shit like Fultz. It'll just be that. Rizo. Something terrible straight out of 2004. That's another thing. We keep mentioning them like we're building up to something massive. Why? I know 3 Dereks in my life, right? None of them get called Dale. Why does McInnes get called Dale? Everybody I know gets called either Deke or Deco.
To be fair, I used
Riordan got called Deeks.
I used to work with a Terry, and he was called Tell. So
what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
But anyway, Ryan Fulton's lovely. He's massive. He made some good saves in the 3 games, and he got an assist on his debut. So that's the type of weird shit I love in football players. Fuck your 20 goals a season. I like random goalies making a debut and getting an assist.
That being said,
yeah, Shankland was good as well. Great. We've said that for 3 years.
Well, we said it for
two and a
quarter, and then now we're re-saying it. That being said, it did look as though Ryan Fulton had conceded on his Hearts debut. The Well fans thought that they'd equalised as Callum Slattery drills past the aforementioned Ryan Fulton to equalise for the Steelmen after Hearts clearance fell favourably for the Motherwell midfielder. Thankfully, the celebrations were premature and the goal was ruled out rightfully through offside.
2 things on this. One, Callum Slattery, who shushed us.
Yeah, I saw him go in the main
that.
stand. Get that right around you.
But secondly, this was it took a little bit of time, right, to judge it, especially because it's one of those very rare offside calls where it's like another player was potentially interfering with a goalkeeper's line of sight. So therefore it is an offside decision that requires a decision, which is why the referee got called to the screen. It's not a black and white. Why were folk getting so annoyed? It was a lovely day. The game meant nothing. And it meant that if we got it, we were still winning. And yet there was still folk going, this is the worst day of my life. We're having to wait 2.5 minutes for a quite, especially when you see it back, quite tricky to call offside decision.
Were Hibs leading at Parkhead at this stage?
Maybe, but I wasn't aware of it. But also, fuck me, that ship had sailed. Right? Jesus, we had to let it go at some point. I'd let it go. See, when we finished in the bottom 6, I'd made my peace. When we got beat by the Meister Road, I'd made my peace that they were third. Never mind that. It was just so annoying. It did feel to me, kinda, and it's very hard, but it was just like, we just are annoyed that we've now got nothing to complain about. It's like, the season's done.
Yeah,
folks still want to pretend that these matter as much as other games when they don't. Just everybody calm down.
Can I just say, on that, I am really surprised that this appointment has been met with such a array of positivity from Hearts fans, because
That's fair.
As you rightly say, we're not happy unless we're not happy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels weird. It feels weird that most fans seem to be on side with this and are happy and, dare I say it, optimistic ahead of the 2025-26 campaign.
It's a feeling we so very rarely have, and one that should be approached with such levels of caution, because it's us.
But then I feel like this is the case every August, and then by October it's like,
we're livid.
Yeah.
Second
half, a lovely ball in from James Luke Penrice is glanced home by our number 9 in front of the Gorgie Ultras. Lovely cross, even better header, great goal. And then, like I said earlier on, the Shanklin show has also seen the emergence of a support act by the name of Alan Forrest. Jan Danda comes off the bench, looks to test Aston Oxborough from range. The Englishman parries before Forrest scurries into the box and taps home the rebound from close range. 3-0, all that she wrote. Good night, Motherwell.
Aye, just a lovely, lovely day.
Not necessarily a 3-0 victory. However, I'm not one to complain. We don't care. The season's done. What I was going to ask you is, if Alan Forrest is going to have this re-emergence, could that be the same for Jan Danda?
I hope not.
Or not. Okay.
I'm so, even in this game, I'm literally speaking about folk. Like, why are you getting annoyed? I got annoyed at one moment where he just still keeps fucking doing easy passes. It's like, Jan, there's nothing on the line here, mate. You can do whatever. If you want to just, every time you get the ball for 40 yards, shoot, I'd embrace that. He's
this
still
is the
passing off to
epitome of
Devon.
express yourself.
Yeah, there is no risk.
You just go and do what you like.
You
what
can
was it
do.
Guardiola said? There's nothing riskier than not taking risks.
Jan Danda needs to have that fucking tattooed on his eyes, because there's moments in that fucking second half where he's playing 2-yard passes to Devlin to then turn and go. It's like, Jan, this is it, mate. Just show that you can do something. And listen, he was fine. He wasn't bad by any means, but it's just, even in that game, you didn't do anything exciting to me. And we'll obviously get to his later escapades that happened on Sunday. But I just was sat going, I would be absolutely fine if that was your last action in a Hearts shirt. Which I think is even more damning considering how high on the signing I was when he came and like spent 18 months on this episode.
I'm going to stand by it.
I just don't. I've just seen nothing. It's not even like I've gone, oh, there's moments where I can see it. Like with Blair Spittle when he was playing out of position, because I've seen a lot of people say, Danda's been playing out of position. That's why. When Spittle was being played out of position as a fucking CDM by Naismith.
Yeah, nobody had the same complaints. Yeah.
I was still at the same time going, but he made this sequence of passes, and it's like, if we had that higher up, imagine what he could do. And then when this Spittle did get moved, you saw it. Whereas Danda, I'm like, I've not seen anything. I've not seen a single thing. And I don't have anything against the guy. I'm sure he's like absolutely lovely. I think he tries. Like, I just don't think he's up for it.
I think his case will be strengthened by two departures. And after the Motherwell match and before the St Johnstone game, Hearts confirmed that George Grant and Barry Mackay will leave the club at the end of the season. The duo will move on from Tynecastle Park upon the expiration of their contracts in June. Both have played key roles in the first team in recent years, in particular helping the club to secure European football 3 years in a row. 30-year-old George was a June 2022 arrival in Gorgie and has gone on to make 112 appearances in Maroon, scoring 10 goals. Barry joined the Jambos back in September 2021. His form saw him called up to the Scotland squad a year later, and to date he has pulled on the Maroon jersey 114 times and has scored 6 goals. The club thanks George and Barry for all of their efforts at Hearts, and at full time after Wednesday night's Premiership match with St Johnstone, the first team formed a guard of honour to show their appreciation to their departing teammates before the entire squad completed a lap of the pitch to show their appreciation to the supporters in the stands. I didn't hang around for that, McIver. You did, because you're a mug. How was it?
Only one teammate appeared for it. Yes, so there was that.
Barry Mackay conveniently having his daughter, is that right?
Yeah, he had a wee girl.
Yeah.
So it's like,
congratulations, Barry.
All right, fine, Barry. I'll let you off.
Yeah, we'll let you off for that. And the fact that we've not seen you for about 6 to 9 months.
I did see it was objectively funny when folk are like, in fairness to him, he's left as he was here, not available. It's like, fair play. But yeah, listen, I accept having a child is a pretty fair enough reason to know to avoid 2,500 folk go. Bye. Wednesday night was so weird because when Graham Carey stepped up to take his free kick, I actively went, go and score this so it's interesting. And then he did. So that was fun. But George Grant didn't say anything. I apparently had been asked if he wanted to say anything. He didn't. That's fine. I don't care.
A surprise.
I'm not bothered. I'm very glad he's leaving.
Oh, you and me both.
As I say, have nothing against the guy personally.
No, I'm sure he's a lovely lad. But
I'm sure, by all accounts, he is a lovely guy as well, and I'm sure he is. But his entire time at Heart of Midlothian for me is viewed as a disappointment and is defined by his dive,
by his antics. And for the money that we've spent, a good chunk of money by Heart of Midlothian standards, he's not really delivered on that front.
Was it like 400 grand we apparently signed him for?
I heard it was about 350, 400, yeah.
Right. We're apparently getting Cabangu for $250,000, and Cabangu's got 11 goal contributions in 17 games. It kind of puts it in perspective when you say that.
I said it. I mean, there's plenty of players that we could have signed on a free transfer that would have done what George Grant has done over the past.
Macaulay Tate could have. I know Macaulay Tate, by the way, it was like 12 when he fucking signed. But in terms of just like the actual the game time we gave to Grant in the last 18 months, we could have given that to Macaulay Tate.
Good luck to Livy in the playoff, by the way. Hope they make it up.
I do, but also I don't.
I'd feel for Don Cowie.
I would feel for Don Cowie as well, but I like Ryan McGowan, David Martindale, and Macaulay Tate. So
yeah, that's basically how I feel. And yes, it's another Astro in the top tier, but you're not going to have to travel 4 hours to go to it. And by the same score, yeah, you'd lose the Mallard, but I don't know.
I did drink, so who gives a shit?
Yeah, tough.
Wednesday was so weird. I have to mention it because it's on brand for me. Fucking Joe Hendry was there, and it was the highlight of my season. Spoke to him after the game, and he was amazing. Doom was back.
Hey!
And it was just like, he said a thing. What did he say? Right at the very end, he went, it was like the best time of my career. And I think at that point, I out loud went, I'd sign him now. Like, I'd have him now. And he's probably better than George Grant now, to be honest.
The duo of Benny Beningame and Arnold Jim.
Oh my God. With Cammy Devlin just did laps round them. It would just be the best thing ever.
So, you could even bump Jim that little bit higher up and just have Benny and Cammy behind him.
Jim is like one of the most underappreciated players at the time, especially at the time when he was here.
Baller. Exactly. The media didn't even touch on his AFCON triumph for Cameroon.
Nah, exactly. He got dogs abuse for Hearts fans at points, and it's just ridiculous.
I loved Arnold Jim.
Loved him so much. Was happy to see Joe Hendry. And then
I wasn't. I was.
The guy. I was buzzing. Um,
Far too many wrestling references in this episode. But carry on.
no, there's not.
Yes,
Listen,
there
we're
is.
about to go on a break for a summer. I need to get as many of them in as possible. Um, and the genuine highlight of the night, legitimately one that I think I did give a standing ovation to, or maybe just applauded vigorously, was Uche Ekpe's who returned it to
No,
Tynecastle,
I
and I
thought you were
was
no,
buzzing.
no, 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 no.
I was so
Why?
excited
Why? Why do Hearts fans actually do this? We just
because he's
pick
a
and choose.
lovely man.
We pick and choose moments. He was pish.
No, he
He was part of
wasn't.
the team that got us relegated.
He was
That's
the
fact.
man with the single greatest skill moves you've ever seen on a
Oh
football
my
pitch where they step
God.
overs over Hickey. And then genuinely, he scored
So
like big goals against Hibs at Easter Road. No,
that would
identical goals against Hibs at Easter Road,
that would
actually.
literally be like applauding Glenn Whelan, who was also excellent in that derby that Hickey
What
scored
did.
in.
No. No, no, no,
Yes, it
no,
would.
no.
Yes, it is. It's the same thing.
There is not a single moment. But also, Glenn Whelan didn't score multiple goals against Hibs.
And he
Like,
spoke shit about the club after he left. So
yeah,
fuck you,
exactly.
Glenn Whelan.
She's been like, I really loved my time there. I really
Of course you were, because you
that
were
kind of
fucking
thing.
out of place. You were bloody lucky to pull that jersey on.
I want to find out what Uchi's goal to game record
Oh
was
my
for us.
God,
Also,
man.
as I said to you on the phone, he was also very lovely to me when I was involved with the club with the mascot
Fantastic.
stuff. So
George
therefore,
Grant's
I
bound to
was
be a
buzzing.
lovely guy, but I'm not happy to see him pull on the shirt. And I
Yeah,
believe
but
that I
I
won't
don't
have to ever
know
again
George
either.
Grant. I don't know George Grant. I
Oh,
knew Uchi a wee
I,
bit.
I honestly thought
That's
that you
my
were going to
club.
say. I thought.
I'm
I thought
finding
you
it.
were. I thought you were going to say Harry Milne's performance because he was
He
one
had
of two
20
changes.
goal contributions in 50 games. That's not.
That's
Think of
actually
this.
not that bad.
Think of the strikers
That's
we've seen.
that's genuinely not that bad. I was going to say that Liam Fox made two changes again, with James Luke Penrice making way and Harry Milne making his Gorgie debut for the Jam Tarts at left back, and your mate Jan Danda replaced the injured Kenneth Vargas. But considering their Premiership safety was on the line, and all that was at stake for St Johnstone, I thought they were really poor. Really did not offer much. And yeah, don't get me wrong, it wasn't the most complete performance. It was very much a we're safe, and as you said about Danda earlier on, it's like express yourself. Whatever happens, happens. We're not really arsed. Um, but it was a chance for Harry Milne, and one that I thought he
Oh,
took with both hands. A lovely ball in from him, which Barry Douglas finishes superbly to give us the opener. Um, he looked a really capable deputy for James Luke Penrice, didn't he?
he looked unbelievable. The first 20 minutes, every time he got the ball, I was like, we're going to score here. Like he just looked excellent. And you know what I really liked? I liked him in his post match interview. He was kind of like, yeah, I knew I'd be this good. Like
Love that.
I know that
Love
I'm
that.
capable of
There
this.
he was playing for Cove a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Like, believe, don't stop believing. Journey said it.
He was just excellent. I know he kind of struggled at the weekend, but
Again, nobody cares.
who gives a shit? It was like we were doing 10 men and everything like that. Like,
And he's up against one of probably the best wingers outside the old firm in the league on his day, Danny
yeah,
Armstrong.
probably.
I mean, St Johnston, I couldn't even tell you who was out there. Was it the boy Duke McKenna or
Yeah, it
like
was because he was the only one that I thought looked all right whenever he was coming forward, but that still didn't mean a lot.
rest? It was like St Johnston have got something. I was listening to the radio on the way back in the car, and Alan Preston said they've got something like 17 players out of contract. I mean, there's
And they're
none that
only
you'd be
keeping two.
rushing. Exactly, there's none that you'd be rushing to offer a deal to, really.
Yeah. I didn't actually see who the two they were, but I saw the headline that it was like Valakari keeps 2 out of 17 out of contract, or offers contracts to 2 out of the 17. It was, again, it was weird. As I say, I literally said out loud, Carey, go and just score this. Because I was like, I wanted the game to be interesting.
Mind you, I mean, you talk about that free kick. Jan Danda smashed the bar with
He
House in
did.
the first half. Again, we've kind of touched on him, but I don't know. I don't think he is a Derek McInnes player like
Nah,
that. I don't think he's that typical mold.
nah.
But I don't know. I've got a feeling what with a couple of players, but then I say that obviously there's talk of two wingers coming in. I don't think he's a winger. I do think he's a 10, but hasn't really played there
We're not
thus
going to
far.
play with a 10
I
either.
can't exactly. I can't see that now. So I don't know. His future might well be up in the air.
But yeah, it was. I was about to say what was the second goal, but it was Forest. That nice link-up play again with Shankland and Forest.
It certainly
Um,
was a really cute ball from Lawrence Shankland
yeah,
into his path,
and a
and a
good
lovely
finish for
finish.
Forest. Aye,
Exactly, which I thought his performance up to that point actually deserved. I was really impressed with just how eager he was to kind of take on his man. There was a couple of nutmegs in there.
yeah.
It looked like he was a genuine kind of touchline hugger and was trying to get us up the park, which is something that I think we've been lacking for months.
And that's always been Forrest's big strength, regardless of anything I'd say to him. I've always said it's like his strength is that he just wants to hit the byline, and we don't have anybody else who will do that. And again, as I say, Foxy football, he just simplified everything. Fox was just like, just play where you're naturally happy and do what you want to do. And everybody looked better for it.
Yeah, it was square pegs and square holes as opposed
Yeah, exactly.
to round ones. Lauren Shankland tried an outrageous effort pretty
Oh my
much from the
God.
halfway line, but the game was pretty much already won despite, again, that stunning Graham Carey
Why
free
does
kick.
Graham
But
Carey only score rakers?
lovely left peg,
I
Graham
know.
Carey. I mean,
And he's
I
been
know
doing
it's
it against us for about 15 years as well.
years. Ever since he was at St Mirren and then he's gone away to Bulgaria, but like he's one that you'd have liked to have signed a good few years ago because obviously now
Aye.
he's now got the legs, but there's no doubt regarding his technical ability. But speaking of technical ability, that Shankland effort, I thought it was in. Honestly, I was getting
I'll tell
ready
you
to go
this.
absolutely tonto, and it was close. The replays show that it was bloody close.
I think if he'd scored that, he would have immediately requested to be subbed off and he wouldn't sign a new deal because he'd want that to be his last touch for us. He would be like, do not give me the ball back.
We're not blaming the guy
Nah,
whatsoever.
no, I'd shake his hand and wish him well. Um, it's again, I always want to have these 4 games where I'm speaking about the positives and Harry Mill and stuff like that. I do want to have the context that it's like these games for us meant nothing. So players could. What Shankland did is what I wanted everybody to do, just for a
Yeah,
laugh, just
just
start shooting.
it's just a bit of fun.
So,
Again, because there was an instance in the second half where James Wilson comes off the bench and he could easily slip Cammy Devlin in
oh, I was livid.
for
I
that
was
third
livid
goal.
he didn't.
I was raging at the time, but then I'm thinking this game doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Like
but I
as
want,
soon as
but
we
Cammy Devlin's goals matter.
100%. I mean, I spoke to him recently and he said that Rosenborg was his last goal, which to me is mental.
And even
Like
then,
that's all, exactly. He can't really claim one of them.
yeah, can he claim
Well,
them?
can't claim both of them.
Aye.
But it's just absolutely crazy. And I'm thinking, just slip him in, but then he's a young lad, he's a young, greedy
Don't
striker,
care.
and he
Fuck
has
you,
a
James
pomade.
Wilson.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, again, what it's so symptomatic of the Hearts fan base that after the Dundee game, folk were like, "We're going to the Championship. I'd keep Benny Beningame and shoot the other 21 that we've got." And now folk are going, if we just had a winger for Kazakhstan, we might actually win something.
And
It's just so
the
symptomatic.
Greek guy's coming in, and he and Forrest can provide, and we can.
We're going to be
suck
class
the
together. It doesn't
Kazakhstan
matter.
winger
We've got a
in.
random Norwegian boy at right back. It's going to be amazing.
Holy, we do this, man. Oh, you're right. But a man that won't be part of it next season is Liam Fox. And prior to the Kilmarnock match, which would be his last in charge, Hearts confirmed that Liam Fox would leave the club at the end of the season. A former Hearts player, youth coach, and first team coach, Liam returned to the Jambos in 2023 as B team head coach. He took on the role of interim head coach for the first time in September 2024 for 3 games, then was kept on by the incoming head coach Neil Critchley and his first team staff. And Andrew McKinley said, I'd like to firstly thank Liam for everything he's done for Hearts, not just during his period with the first team this season, but also for the sterling work he did with the B team last year. We asked Liam for his help with the first team, and it had been plain for all to see that he did not let us down. Such is the way of football. Change can often be on the horizon, and as we are about to embark on a new direction with regards to a new head coach, we have come to the decision to start completely afresh, which means that Liam will be moving on. Again, I thank Liam on behalf of everyone at Hearts for everything he has done for this club, and we wish him the best of luck going forward. Just really sad, isn't it? And also his post match after Kelly was
Yeah.
sad, but a nice way for him to go out for sure, McIver.
I'm so chuffed for him because you said in that, and I think the club said that, a former player, he technically isn't. He technically never played for us. He played in the youth team, and then when he came through, in the late 90s. He made the bench 9 times, but never came on. He then had his whole career and then signed for us in the 14-15 championship season and appeared on the bench 3 times, but never got on. So he never got to actually play for us. So for him to have a run as interim boss and have 7 games, only 1 loss, 1 draw, and 5 wins, it's just, I mean, it literally is the definition of like us living a dream, just getting to be involved. And on top of the fact of, yeah, he seems like a lovely guy, and you always want to have lovely people at your football club. I do think if it was up to me, I would have kept him on. Now, whether or not he wants to stay on just as a coach, because I found out this week that he was the SPFL coach in Critchley's staff, meaning he was the guy to give data and analysis of the other teams in the league, because Critchley and Hannity and stuff like that didn't have the experience. So Fox could go, well, Motherwell historically play like this. These are the players kind of thing, which is an interesting and good job role, I feel like, for him. I think he will do very well when he gets back into management. I think you can tell he's ready to go back into management. And I just hope he knows how important he was to us this season, both when he first took over as interim boss after Naismith. I mean, in all seriousness, how many Hearts managers can say they've won in Europe? Like, he's one of them. And that's an amazing achievement to have. Yeah, just nothing but thanks and best wishes. I wish he did stay, but I can understand the decision to start completely afresh.
I guess the thing for me is now there's some quite appealing jobs in Scotland for Liam Fox to take. Obviously, Kilmarnock's one of them. I can't see him getting a Premiership job, so that also rules out Dundee. But would Partick Thistle maybe take a chance on a Liam Fox?
Well, I was actually about to say,
I see they've approached Dougie Imrie today.
So maybe he gets the Morton job.
Maybe. I don't know what money Morton would be.
It looks like Scott Brown's about to storm out of Ayr, so it might be Ayr. Who knows?
Never know. But yeah, I also agree. Wish him all the best. However, his last match wasn't a classic. I think
it was hilarious.
Fair to say. It made 3 tweaks to the side that defeated St Johnstone in the midweek. Xander Clark obviously returned from injury to start between the sticks for all of 22 minutes before Ryan Fulton replaced him.
Xander, have you not got the fucking memo, mate? These are my games.
Callum Neuenhoff came in for George Grant, which probably should have happened. Like, I could see why he obviously played against St Johnstone
18 months ago.
Yeah. but ultimately I want players that are going to be part of the plans beyond the summer to play. And Stephen Kingsley got the nod ahead of Craig Halkett in defence. It looked as though neither team were going to break the deadlock for 90 minutes. However, Hearts played the majority of the game with 10 men after Jan Danda's dismissal for foul play, studding Stuart Finlay in the leg in that first half. It's just not a red card, is it?
I mean, it absolutely is a red card.
But, like, again, I could see why people are saying yes and no. My view is, I look at it, how would I feel if that was on a Hearts player, and I'd be screaming for a red. So,
yeah.
It is, but I could see why people are angry that it shouldn't be. Hearts have even appealed it, which I find...
Which is mad.
Bizarre.
Mental. I also am of the opinion that I think I want them to be red cards. I know a lot of people will say, oh yeah, so-and-so is a red card, but I don't want it to be. I want them to be...
Jan Danda to
it's entirely based on I do what. If it was Devlin, it's never a red, and we should be appealing it. No, I think, listen, the crux of the argument seems to be, oh well, he's being pushed by Watson. When you watch, see as it happened in real time, I went, he's being pushed there, but he's then tried to still go for the ball. He makes a decision to not just put his foot down. He goes, all right, I think I can still get this. And goes to it, and as a result, you've moved your foot in a way that means that if you can't get the ball, you're going to go studs up into somebody's calf. And that's what happened. So, like, as soon as I saw that first replay, I went, I think this is going to be a red card to us, and it should be.
Yeah, and again, it's is daft. What's bizarre is, like, obviously Hearts are then awarded the free kick simultaneously. So then I think people that were at the game and saw the incident as it was happening go, hold on a minute. Like, what am I witnessing here? But then you see the replays and
I will
it's
say, why don't we still get the free kick? Because you can still be sent off, but we get the... Because, like, the foul, it's still a foul on Danda. On top of... I don't understand what the logic was in... Like, I think you can still send Danda off there, but he was also still fouled, so therefore it's a free kick.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not arsed
No,
at all. Because that's the other big thing where people are getting really annoyed about it. It's like, this game means nothing. Who cares? We could go down to 8 men each, and that would make it more interesting.
I mean, the highlight literally was Stephen Kingsley grabbing his first goal of the season on the last game of the season. Cool finish. Dreadful defending from a Kilmarnock perspective, but I don't care. And he just hammers home in front of the travelling Hearts fans to send them home happy. So, yeah, 3 points in Ayrshire means that Hearts finish top of the bottom 6, a final league placing of 7th in the William Hill Premiership. Thank God that season is over.
I think it was an unmitigated success because the last meaningful kick of the season won me money. So therefore,
oh yes,
I think it was a success.
What was it? 16-1?
16-1 anytime Kingsley.
Lovely. What inspired that? Just the fact he was coming in.
Because Penrice wasn't playing, who is normally my first,
you've got a weird thing about left back.
I just always pick the left back.
Harry Milne against St Johnstone.
Yes, I did, and he got an assist, and I was like, "Oh for God's sake, man!" But he didn't do it. I was like, "Okay, well, he didn't score," and right, okay, I'll change it just because I want to see what's happening. Actually, no, I did have Harry Milne. I had £2 on Harry Milne first goal scorer, and then I just went, "Oh, Kingsley's not scored this season, and he's never went a season without scoring for us." So I was like, I'll just chuck it on any time. So if I'd put him first, I would have got more. But I just went any time. Thank you very much. Success.
Alan Forrest, you are on me, my friend. No matter. And one season's now behind us. We enter a new campaign with a new manager, or should I say new head coach. As Heart of Midlothian, we're delighted to confirm the appointment of Derek McInnes as the club's new head coach. A hugely experienced manager with a proven track record of competing at the top end of the Scottish Premiership and in Europe, Derek will lead the Jambos into a new era after signing a 4-year deal at Tynecastle Park. Joining Derek and Gorgie will be his first team coaches Paul Sheeran and Alan Archibald, with the trio making the move from Kilmarnock subject to Scottish FA approval. After enjoying a stellar playing career both sides of the border, Derek's managerial career took off in 2007 when he guided St Johnstone to the top flight, and he would go on to manage Bristol City, Aberdeen and Kilmarnock. He transformed the fortunes of Aberdeen during an 8-year spell at Pittodrie, never finishing outside of the top 4 in his 7 full seasons. He led them to 4 consecutive second-place finishes, albeit Rangers went in the league, reached 4 cup finals and lifted the Scottish League Cup, went in the league for 3 of them. Derek took the Dons into Europe 7 years in a row, narrowly missing out in the group stages after being edged out by the likes of Sporting Lisbon and Burnley. At Kilmarnock, he won promotion back into the Premiership in his first season before steering them to 4th in 2023-24. A European run followed, and although Kelly lost out to Cercle Bruges and FC Copenhagen, they did eliminate Tromsø, which was the Rugby Park side's first European two-leg tie victory in 23 years. A PFA Scotland Manager of the Year winner and 2-time Scottish Football Writers Association Manager of the Year, Derek, along with Paul and Alan, will take Hearts forward into a new, exciting era. McIver, are you excited about the new era?
Just want to say, the sentence Sporting Lisbon and Burnley is a really funny sentence.
I wondered what you were laughing at. I was going to say, has the club made a mistake as I'm reading that?
No, it's just football's funny, isn't it?
Remember Lewis Ferguson's Worldie against Burnley?
Oh God, aye!
The overhead kick, and now he's captain in Bologna to their first major trophy in 51 years.
Mad. So, as we record this a few hours ago, an episode of the Terrace podcast went out with myself and Craig Fowler where we discussed this appointment, and my main point is that I am cautiously optimistic about it. That's where I am with Derek McInnes. I want Derek McInnes to be our version of Brighton appointing Chris Hughton. That's what I hope he is. Where Tony Bloom took over Brighton, and made a bunch of weird appointments that didn't really work. They were a bit outside the box, and
Your Gus Poyets and whoever else.
exactly, they didn't really work. So Tony Bloom turned to somebody who knew the English game, knew the English leagues, and went, right, you're going to be here for a couple of years. Go and just make us stable, and then we can move on. Now, I have a lot of love for Chris Hughton anyway.
I was going to say gets promoted in the first place.
Yeah, I have a lot of love for Chris Hughton anyway because of my links to Newcastle. A wonderful manager who took Newcastle back out the Championship into the Prem. And was the main reason that the following season, Pardew was able to come in and do very well and finish fifth. Hughton at Brighton, ironically, against Newcastle in the 15-16 season, both went up. Final day, it was ironically, amongst all of this, Dwight Gale scored a winner for Newcastle to win the league on the final day and take it away from Brighton, but Newcastle and Brighton both came up. It allowed Brighton to have that year to go up, then a year of stability, and it allowed them to appoint a relative unknown who wasn't doing too much at the time in Graham Potter, who then did incredibly well for Brighton. So that's what I hope McInnes is for us. Somebody who will meet the expectations, meet the goals, minimum goals of the football club, get us back into Europe, get us into the top four minimum for a year or two. And then after that, we can appoint someone who's a bit more exciting, out the box, who will potentially take us to a further level.
A sexy Spaniard like a Marty Cifuentes.
Marty Cifuentes is exactly what I'm thinking of, yeah. I have had, for the entire 200 episodes of this podcast,
slated Derek McInnes.
I've had a lot of reservations, should I say, about Derek McInnes. Fowler made the point, I don't want to spoil too much of the podcast, but Fowler made a very damning point that in his entire managerial career, Derek McInnes has signed one player who didn't have domestic experience of the league that he was playing in, which is fucking terrifying, considering our first three signings are a Norwegian, a Kazakhstani, and a Greek guy.
That was my primary concern, because I'd heard that it was kind of three that weren't kind of, as you say, homegrown or domestic players kind of from the UK or Ireland. So that was admittedly a bit of a worry. But then when you hear him speak and you hear how willing he is to work with Jamestown, I'm willing to give it a chance. Why not?
So am I.
I said in 4-4-2 right at the start of the season, which again we might touch on this next week when we go through the big grand review and whatever. They asked if Stephen Naismith left, who should replace him at the helm for Hearts, and I said Derek McInnes. So
you were right, just 10 months too late.
We just forget Neil Critchley's tenure. I've got it spot on. But
listen,
no, I think it's safe. I think it's a decent appointment. I think it's what we need right now. I don't think that's kind of our long-term aspirations. As you say, he may well end up the fall guy, but if that is the case and he does a stellar job for us, I'm not going to complain one bit. Ultimately, we need somebody that will be the carrier through the first process of our Jamestown era, as you put. So I think Derek McInnes is the man to do exactly that.
The Chris Hughton of Brighton, the Mark Hughes of Man City, just that kind of guy who knows his feet's under the furniture, knows the situation.
Eddie Howe at Newcastle? Question mark?
No, Eddie Howe at Newcastle is the greatest manager alive. All right, fuck you. No, Eddie Howe is the peak of management. Right, that's who we'll get after McInnes. Howe will bomb at Newcastle, and then we'll get him.
He and Oliver Glasner, they've just tasted that success south of the border now, and they're just like, yep, get me up to Jamestown.
Exactly.
Although, would Tony Bloom appoint a then former Crystal Palace? Probably not.
Exactly. Yeah, listen, I have my reservations, but as I do with every player that comes through the door, I will give McInnes my full, unwavering support. I hope I'm sat here this time, literally on this date. My brother's birthday as we record this, by the way. Happy 21st, Kier. He was just in Berlin watching Hertha versus Hanover. That's what he was doing, spending his birthday.
Loved the Olympiastadion. Great ground.
I want to be sat here on my brother's 22nd birthday going, isn't it hilarious how I had reservations as we got to third and are in both cup finals and maybe have even won the League Cup? That will never happen. I'll say this now. If Derek McInnes wins us the League Cup, he's the best Hearts manager of my lifetime. Right? He's better than Jeffries. He's better than fucking Nielsen. He's better than Sergio. He's better than Ivanauskis because he's won the trophy that we cannot fucking win. Right?
That
That's
would
it.
be a literal miracle. But then, this is the year of the under. Well, have we then gone a season too late?
We've gone a season too late. You cannot include us in this.
How are you feeling, actually, I say this, about Derek McInnes' former club Aberdeen in this cup final? I was of the opinion that it would be a disaster, but if they were to steal European football from Hibs,
just objectively funny.
That it would be fucking hilarious. So now
I think we've got a win. It's weird. Yeah,
it's a win-win.
After the season we've had, we've got a win-win here because it means that one of them are getting fucked over. Right now, I'm happy with the appointment of McInnes. As you say, he spoke very well. He spoke to the Hearts Daz, and it turns out I'm not above that because
physical Hearts are back.
I liked it. I liked hearing it. I hope he actually can do it and he doesn't just say it. But
honestly, he had me frothing at the mouth. He was talking about making Tynecastle a horrible place to play. He was talking about pacing the wide areas.
And also,
they're just asking questions of opposition defenders. No passing. Hallelujah!
I would like to say
prayers have been answered.
I would like some passing. I don't want passing to just go out the window here. Yeah. He also, we spoke about how Harry Milne had that arrogance and confidence about him. It is fucking evident Derek McInnes is like, fuck you, Kilmarnock. Why would I even waste my time with you as soon as somebody else of relevancy comes in?
What did you make of the? I know that you obviously wouldn't have tuned into like was it Rangers Aberdeen? That obviously he and Chris Boyd were. I
saw the clip of that.
I knew that you'd have seen that. Like the Killie fans were seething. It was hilarious.
So I'm glad we've touched on that because I very much agree with the Killie fans that McInnes personally could have handled this a lot better. And disrespect, I don't know if I'd go as far.
No, I would say Boyd was the one that was disrespectful.
Yeah.
Which is surprising given what Kilmarnock gave him.
Yeah, but
Derek McInnes didn't exactly disagree with him.
He's just, that's what I mean. I don't think he handled himself.
Place. I don't know why on earth he'd go on the telly with all that was going on.
But this is what I mean. I don't know what there is about contracts and stuff like that.
And if he dare thinks about continuing on the Rangers' fucking coverage of their European games during the Europa League or whatever competition they end up in, he can suck a fat one. That cannot happen.
You look at the press conference that we just had when he announced, he clearly went back on what he said. Like after, who did they beat to stay? Was it Ross County they beat to stay up? The 3-2? Was that Dundee? Dundee. After that game, he's asked by Chick Young, have you had any contact? And he went, there's been no official approach between the clubs. I've heard nothing.
Between the clubs.
Yeah.
But they worded very carefully.
But he also says in it, he's like, I've had no thoughts about this. Billy Bowie's just going to be speaking to me today. I've not heard anything. In his press conference with us, he literally said, before the Dundee game, I spoke to Billy Bowie about it. So it's like, there's evident, like, he's went back and said a lot. What I disagree, so that's my point. I understand if Killie fans are slighted with McInnes. What I genuinely don't understand is the idea that we've behaved inappropriately as a club. Because
I don't get that at all.
We waited until they were safe.
Yeah.
We didn't make a single reference to him until we announced them yesterday as we record this.
I mean, Andrew McKinlay said he thanked Kilmarnock prior to that press conference taking place because of how easy everything was. So we've obviously given them good money for McInnes, Sheeran and Archbold. So
I don't
see what they're so angry about.
And it seems like the issue they have is just that we're bigger than them and we're taking their manager. It's like, sorry guys, we've got a very important transfer window. We need a manager in as quickly as possible. Bluntly, we're having your manager. We have to deal with this with Rangers and Celtic with players. Like, everybody has a place in the food chain, right? You can't be too annoyed at it because it's the way football works. All the time. Look at the Suter saga with us. Look at the Lyle Cameron saga just now. Dundee, where it's like, bluntly, these clubs can just come in and go, hi, we'd like you. And 9 times out of 10, the player or manager's going to go, all right, bye.
I even thought Danny Armstrong would actively try and play better on that last game of the season
Yeah,
to potentially say to Derek McInnes, please take me.
to
I mean,
get me along the road.
I heard about the Stuart Finlay links as well, so
Yeah, aye.
that could be. I mean, I thought that he was going to sign under Robbie, so
Oh
after he
yeah, he
left
did. Forgot about
Philly in the
that. Oh yeah,
States, so
aye. But this, I just
don't
didn't
know.
understand that argument, and I think it was a wee bit of bitterness where it's just like, oh, and by the
Definitely.
way, yous have behaved badly and all just for wanting them. Like,
It's like, no, we
nah,
haven't. You've asked us for a fee. We've paid the fee. We've agreed terms with your manager. We've signed him to a 4-year
it's
contract.
not
You're
our
going to appoint
fault.
somebody.
It's not
So
our
what do you want us
fault.
to do? Like, no, Derek. Actually, we've changed our minds. The Kelly fans don't want us to take you, so we'll just part this offer. Sorry, mate. I
It's
mean, he
not
even
our
said
fault.
he actively said this is a job that I've had an eye on for a
So
while.
that's what I was going to say. It's
So
not our
what?
fault that
Like,
the manager wanted to come to us for
no,
years.
exactly. What the fuck do you want us to do? Go? Oh yeah, you'd be keen for the job, but no. Our sporting director literally said you were the outstanding candidate, but the Kelly fans have said no. So we better leave it.
They might start chucking pies about the place, so therefore we
Honestly,
just have to leave it. But and I will say, very bluntly, it has made me like him a wee bit more that he is so. The fucking bit where he just goes, I have nothing to apologise to Kilmarnock Football Club for. I was a bit like, fair play, Derek, or
that's
Dale, as you apparently
that's
know that.
ballsy. Yeah. Oh, I mean the AI generated the AI generated images of like him having a fuck outside the tickers
I
and all that.
fucking hate them. I hate them so much. I hate them so
Some of them are
much.
hilarious.
No, they're so bad. But
The
um,
Dale boy is only fools and horses.
I can't wait until we play Killy now. It's going to be exciting.
You know full well we are heading their first game of the season,
Oh,
aren't
aye. Oh, but
we?
that's the fucking. They always beat us at Tynecastle, so it's going to be a nightmare, man.
We'll get them at Rugby Park and just let the fans' collective anger over the summer just take aim at us on their first day.
So
Oh, that'd
good.
be brilliant. That would be
Can't
so
wait.
funny. But yes, we're happy with how the final four fixtures went. We're happy that McInnes is the man in the dugout. And before we conclude this episode 200, we are going to end with a quiz. Now, I said prior to us even coming on air tonight, I was really worried. Firstly, about the duration of the podcast, but I see that we've dragged it out an hour, which is fantastic news.
Yep.
And secondly, the quiz. As I always am nervous about the quiz, but so be it. So we're just going to get straight into it. You have a true or false. You have potentially two multiple choices.
There'll be two multiple choices. I'm taking all I can get.
A bog standard question and the who am I? Coveted, famous who am I? Question number 1. Before the Motherwell match, Hearts had lost their past 2 league games at Tynecastle against both Dundee clubs without scoring a goal. We last lost 3 in a row at Tynecastle in the Scottish Premiership in December 2019. True or false? Daniel Stendhal's Hearts, as they were then, lost all 3 on the spin without scoring.
That, by the way, was the most predictable stat I've ever heard in my life. That the last team to do it was the last team to do it was the 1920 team. Of course, it fucking was. I think that's false because I was at all the games inexplicably, and I feel like I remember us scoring but then getting beat. But I'm trying to remember who it would have been December. I feel like it was Kelly. Was it the 3-2? I'm going to say. Wait, was the question that? Was the statement that we
True
did
or
score?
False that we lost all 3 on the spin without scoring? So
false.
If you think we scored, false.
I think we scored.
It's actually true.
Oh my god!
Lost 1-0 to St Johnstone. That was the Callum Hendry goal.
That was his first game.
2-0 to Celtic and then 2-0 to Hibs on Boxing Day, the Boyle brace.
Jesus.
Rough times. So thankfully we're well beyond that, and now I can relax with regards to the rest of the quiz. Question number 2. The Motherwell match saw Ryan Fulton keep a clean sheet between the sticks on his competitive Hearts debut. But who was the last goalkeeper to do so before the former Hamilton Accies keeper? Do you want a choice? He doesn't need it. It's John McLaughlin.
Yes,
in the 0-0 draw with Aberdeen at Murrayfield.
Thank you, 21st birthday recipient Keir McIver, for telling me that.
Fuck's sake. Can I just say, I could have played in goal for Hearts that day. All I seem to remember was us not getting the better of Joe Lewis and
Yeah.
us literally battering Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Ross Callahan was also really good that day. If
He
memory
was
serves
class
me.
then.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
we played Hamilton, and he was amazing then as well. And it was like, oh my God, he's going to be amazing. And then he was Ross Callahan.
Yeah, it was a really sad ending. So very good, McIver. You've redeemed yourself. I would say with that answer, not even needing multiple
100%.
choice. So
I was like, I cannot get my first ever zero on episode 200. It cannot happen.
But back yourself. I mean, you said that it was definitely going to be a multiple choice. Didn't need to be.
Come on.
Question number 3. Hearts were victorious at Rugby Park on the last day of the Scottish Premiership season
We beat.
against
We.
Kilmarnock.
Oh no, I don't know the answer to this.
But when was the last time that the Jambos won the
I think it
final
was
league
03,
match
04.
of the season?
I think it was against Motherwell in either 0203 or 0304. Give me multiple choice options. I want to see if I can get this.
No, dude, I've not got multiple choice because
Off what?
I'm going to tell you right now, you're wrong.
Oh, well, then I have no idea.
That stat was in the top flight. I'll give you a clue here.
We drew with Rangers last day in 14-15 2-all. Gennaro Zifuk.
Indeed.
Who the fuck did we beat? Wait, when was the last time we won last day?
Yeah.
Oh, I can think. I don't know.
Who
The
was it,
game.
McIver? Who was it? Come on.
We battered Alloa at home. But that was it.
Someday this was an impressive one on the
That
road.
was it. That was it. Nat Wraith.
Correct.
I wouldn't have got it if you hadn't said that.
And as you said, who was outstanding for
GMS.
us? 4-0. GMS scored twice.
He
Any
did.
idea of the other goal scorers?
Jamie Walker and Nandwilly.
No.
Nandwilly scored a double that won me 80 quid against Wraith when we beat them 4-0 in his debut.
Yeah.
Who was there? Nazy?
Yes. Oh, that was his last goal, I think. Last professional goal.
It'll be somebody like Elliot Freer.
Oh, it's something that you don't expect. Keep
going,
you're nearly there.
AD White?
No.
Jervain? No, Castanier never played after Brora. Jordan Roberts.
No, he's somebody that ilk.
Who else is that was shite at that time?
A young forward now plays in, or he's going to be playing in League One next season. There's a clue for you.
What? Wait, our League One or English League One?
Scottish League One.
Who's at East Fife?
Think the other way.
Oh shit. Craig Whiten.
No, he's been released by Dunfermline. Come on. No.
I don't know. I can't think of anybody.
Ewan Henderson.
But I'm glad I forgot about that. Funny.
Question number 4.
Hey, I'm chuffed with my performance in this, by the way.
That was all right. You got a wee helping hand, but you did.
I did, but
you did.
Did we beat Alloa like 6-0 at Tynecastle?
I have absolutely no idea.
I think we beat Alloa.
I'll check in the who am
I.
I think you might be right. Question number 4. The victory over Kilmarnock means that 52 points is the highest of any bottom 6 club in the Scottish Premiership since the 2018-19 season.
Wow.
But which team picked up the same tally back then? Was it A, Hamilton Accies, B, Motherwell, C, Livingston, or D, St Johnstone?
I remember Livingston getting really close to top 6 like consecutive seasons, but that was only a couple of seasons. We were doing the show then. My guess was going to be Partick, and then I was like, oh no, wait, 18-19. That's not a good time for Partick Thistle.
Could you say that penultimate home match of the season, we did play Alloa Athletic and we won 6-0 at 3 weeks.
Why do I know all this? Can we just do a quiz about that season? Why did I know we won 6-0 then 4-0?
We won 6-0, then drew 0-0 at Capello against Greenock Morton.
I forgot about that.
Beat Inverness 3-0 on our last home game, which was Trophy Day, I believe. Gary Mackay-Steven again scoring a brace.
Yep.
And Wraith Rovers then was the final match of that season.
Livingston. It's Motherwell, isn't it?
No, it's not Motherwell.
Oh, well, fair enough then. I would have went with either of those two.
Johnston.
Is it? Wow.
Yes. As
Can I
their
just say,
16-year stay comes to an end in Scotland's top
when's
flight.
the last time we relegated a team?
I know, I kind of felt for St Johnstone, actually. But
I
that's a good
did.
question.
I liked it from the perspective of for 10 out of those 16 years, we never could win at their ground. So I was
Oh,
like, I was
yeah.
delighted with that. But then, in the last few
Points
years,
out of 12 against them this
we're
season.
now
Exactly.
throwing away double figure points every
Won 10 in a
season.
row. 10 in a
Yeah.
row against St Johnstone.
Unbelievable.
Won 10 in a row.
But yeah, I couldn't think of the last time. I mean, apart from ourselves, who we just fucking relegate by being shite. I couldn't think of the last time that like we directly played in a game that meant the relegation of somebody.
I mean, the relegation party, would that count?
Not really, because it wasn't the game.
It wasn't but ultimately,
I mean, it could arguably you can make it. You can make it debate that it meant the game that turned the tide completely.
Yeah,
that isn't that funny.
Absolutely brilliant. But yes, we are going to end off with the Who Am I. Ready for this, Daniel McIver? I'm going to get this man's Wikipedia up.
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Go through all the clues. I signed for Hearts without making a single appearance for the club I joined the Jambos on loan from, after initially breaking through in a team from my homeland. After initially signing for HMFC on loan, I turned my temporary stay in Edinburgh into a permanent one. I scored for the Men in Maroon on my debut, but picked up an injury that ruled me out for most of my debut campaign, in the same match that I scored a famous winning goal. My first campaign at Tynecastle saw me score 7 goals, each against a different SPL team. After 2 successful seasons in Scotland, I left Hearts to sign for a team south of the border, who I'd later join on a permanent basis, and they were one of 3 clubs that I helped to a major honour. I spent the rest of my career in England, Turkey and the Czech Republic. Who am I?
I've no idea, but he must be quite good. If that's the Who Am I? Is it Doom? Is it just Doom? But no, Doom played in Saudi Arabia and stuff like that.
I've got this man's Wikipedia up as we speak.
As you were speaking, I was thinking like Bjorn Jonsson. We've done him and he didn't come on loan first. Milinkovic came out of my head, but he was only on loan. He never signed permanently. I need to get a rough time. And ironically, the players I've all said were all playing in the same team. I need to get a time frame here because I've no idea. It feels like somebody in like 2015, 16 kind of thing. So I want to get a time frame because if you end up going 0304, I'm like, well, I won't know who this person is. It's going to be fucking 0304. Adam, give me the seasons that this man was at Hearts.
2005 to 2008.
I don't know. I don't know who it is. Right. Bednar didn't come on. Is it Rudy? Is it just actually Rudy Scott? Fuck my second question.
Rudy.
It's Rudy Scatchell.
Well, you're just guessing.
I don't give a shit. It's episode 200. Let's live a little. It's Rudy Scatchell.
Daniel McIver. It's not Rudy Scatchell.
Bollocks.
It's his compatriot.
The only person that came out of my head was Nedved. I was like,
it's not Pavel Nedved either. It is, in fact.
Was it Bednar?
Roman Bednar, yes.
Well, I definitely wouldn't have got that because I forgot that he wasn't on loan.
And when
he was on loan.
Prague top, I obviously thought of this Who Am I en route to Prague. Had a great time in Prague. He was born in Prague. He went on to play for Sparta Prague, so Roman Bednar could be the greatest footballer of all time.
I don't even think I would have got that because I never knew he was at. Well, I could have probably guessed he was at one of the Prague teams.
Go through the clues.
In terms of, so the reason when you said England, I was like, well, Rudy was at Southampton.
He was.
I think if you hadn't said that, like, I don't know a single other club Bednar played for. So when you're about to tell me who he,
really,
yeah, did he go to Wolves?
Close.
Who else is in the Black Country?
Yes, come on.
Birmingham?
No.
Villa?
No.
Who else is in the Adet? Kenned it. That's it. That's all I know about. Watford?
Bromwich Albion.
Oh, West Brom. Oh, of course he played for West Brom. I can think of him in the top, actually. Yeah. Why did I just say Watford? The Heat
Yeah, he
isn't making.
did.
That famous rivalry between London-based club and Black Country club.
Hertfordshire is now in the Black Country, apparently.
Yeah.
Yes, he signed for the Baggies. I think it was Tony Mowbray actually brought him to
Wow.
West Brom, if my memory serves me. Um, he played for Leicester, which I didn't know.
I didn't know that.
Went on loan to Leicester from West Brom. Went on loan to Turkey and Karagucu. Then played for Blackpool, Sivasspor, Sparta Prague, Pribram, which I believe is where Rudy's from.
Yeah, that's where yeah.
And was recently Pribram's manager in 2024.
I would never have got that.
So yeah,
Because I would have asked for clubs. If I was going to do that, I would ask for clubs, and I maybe would have remembered West Brom, but I don't think I would have.
If I go through, so yeah, again, signed for Hearts initially on loan and then on a permanent basis. Scored for the Men in Maroon on his debut
I didn't think I knew that either.
against Killie, funnily enough.
Was it?
Yes.
Fair enough.
Down at Rugby Park, I'm pretty sure. What was it? Picked up an injury that ruled me out for most of my debut campaign in the same match that I scored a famous winning goal. Any ideas as to who the...
In 05-06, he barely played.
Yeah, which is mad. I couldn't believe that either.
Because I have so many memories of him around
506. 7 goals in 22 games. He actually didn't play that many all told for Hearts. He only played 40 games.
That's fucking wild in terms of how much of an impact he had on our generation.
Crazy.
Because I think of him more than Jankowskis.
So did I. I don't know if it's because we were young and he did that Raj thing in the cup final where he dyed his hair. He had that Mohican. Do you remember?
Maybe. I do remember that.
Maroon Mohican.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I really remember.
He remembers like a 7-8-year-old. So
yeah, I really remember. Obviously, his goal against Rangers,
which was the winner, and that was when he picked up the injury that ruled him out most of that season. Yeah.
Wow.
So he's 7 goals, I'd said, about a different SPL team, away to Killie on that opening day, the 4-2 win. Had a 3-0 win at Tannadice against Dundee United. The 1-0 win over Rangers, he obviously scored the winner in. He scored away to Livy in a 3-2 win. At home to Dunfermline in a 4-0 win. At home to Celtic in a 3-0 win, but his only goal in a defeat came in the derby at Easter Road, April 2006.
Wow. That's wild. What a guy.
What a guy indeed. 2 successful seasons in Scotland, like I say. Left Hearts to sign for West Brom, and he got West Brom out of the Championship. That was one of his 3 major honours, the other being the Cup with us. And I think it might have been with Sparta, actually. Sorry, I've just shut the tab down like an absolute numpty.
I was right then that he was good. When I went, he was clearly good. I
can't believe how few games he played, though.
That's blown my mind.
Sparta Prague won the Czech First League in 2013-14 and the Czech Cup in 2013-14.
He was here for 3 seasons and he only played 40 games.
I know, but then he had a loan spell with West Brom initially and then turned that deal into a permanent one.
That's wild.
I'm going to show off the Sparta top.
No, he didn't. He had 50 games. I was going to say, he definitely played for more than 40 games. It's still way less than I thought.
Yeah.
But that's a nice top as well.
Thank you.
Did you get that when you were there?
I did, at the stadium, which is pretty nice, actually. My head office with Flashcore is actually in the Czech Republic, in Prague. So
wow.
Cracking lunch out there, and hopefully I will get over with work every month, because I absolutely love Prague. Great city.
That'd be class.
Would thoroughly recommend, and we'll take in a Sparta game as well.
Well, massive, massive thank you to both listening to this episode and listening to all 200. If you have, if this is your first episode, we welcome you. What a fucking time for you to join on. Great, well done you. But we know there have been some people who have literally been here from episode 1. I think it was called something like Depressed and Hearts Obsessed. Something like that.
Young, Depressed and Hearts Obsessed.
There we go. I knew there was a first word. And we're all the way. I mean, I feel like Foxy Football is now what it's going to be called because I said it about 100 times.
I was going to say the Final Four and McInnes the Man, but I quite like Foxy Football.
We'll see.
We'll see. He's got that silver fox appeal. You can make him the thumbnail with a scarf.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
Like
Double meaning. But massive thank you if you have enjoyed it. If you have, please let us know on your podcast platform of choice by leaving us a review. It really does help us out. If you've been watching us on YouTube, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. The YouTube this season especially has taken off in ways that we never really expected. So massive, massive thank you to that. We're about to hit 500 subscribers when so much of our listenership came from off YouTube. That's mad. So massive, massive thank you. Perth to Paisley on all the socials if you want to give us a shout there. Perth to Paisley at gmail.com if you want to fire us over an email. Adam, where can they get you on all the socials?
You can catch me watching a compilation of all of Roman Bednar's goals for Heart of Midlothian at Adam T. Kendall.
We will be back next week for our full season review 24-25. Until then, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.